On today's Glory Days show, it took 108 years, but the Chicago Cubs are now the world champions of baseball. Omar Gabi will join us and talk about how the Cubs fought back the curse of the GOAT.
And there are only 2 days left before you need to head to the polls and register your vote for President of the United States in what could become the most important decision of our lifetime. We're going to bring on some passionate Americans to make the case for the party of choice.
Bill Chandler, Joe Battaglia, and Anthony DiLorenzo will join us to talk about what they think about the candidate's best choice to serve in the highest office in the land.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
The best hour of your sports week is coming up on Glory Days right now.
Inravio.com.
Hello again, everybody. Today's Saturday, November 5th, 2016, and you are watching The Glory Days Show with Bruce and Disco. My name is Paul Scafani. This is my good friend Bruce Oler. Behind the glass today, Anthony Mazzallo and Sam Coughlin. And you're joining us on the Inravio TV network, where we stream live from Studio C right here in the great state of New York. Good morning.
Only a few days to the election, my friend.
Only a few days. But you know what? It seems like just yesterday.
It does?
No.
I didn't think so.
You know, I remember that they started this whole thing, last June.
Yeah.
Not June before last. And I remember saying that's ridiculous. So just think, it's 5 days to the election, but it's only 6 days till we start the 2020 campaigns.
All right. Very funny, very funny. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I am a little foggy.
Late night?
It was a late night for your humble narrator.
Drinking?
A little couple of adult beverages.
Laughs?
Yeah, we had a good time last night.
So last night you attended an alumni event. The alumni.
You know what? It's the first time I've ever done anything like that. We had it was the 50th anniversary.
50th?
It was the 50th anniversary of the beginning of the college newspaper in New York Tech called the Campus Slate.
Well, and I remember sometimes people called it the Campus Slab, if you recall.
The Campus Slate. And it was great. Our group.
Yeah. Well, you were the sports editor, right?
I was a sports editor.
Columnist, and for starters. We also wrote a column together, Brewing Out.
We had our good friend John Calhoun.
Yeah, so who was there?
John Calhoun was there. Jim Girardi was there. Tony Matichek. Our friend Walter G. Hofer was there. We had such a good time. We were
Now, the question is, for me, was G. Hildy Goulet there?
No, G. Hildy Goulet was not there. He chickened out.
Really?
No,
he chickened out? Really? Okay.
You know what's funny?
He would probably be somebody good to have on to talk about the candidates, don't you think?
Well, he would have been great,
Yeah.
and so we were talking about how our age group, right? And we were talking about the difference between journalism today.
What do they call it? Are we still the baby boomers? I mean,
no, we're still the baby boomers. Yeah, we're still the baby boomers.
Okay, so our generation.
Our generation.
Yeah. Our vintage.
And we talked about the tactile sensation of having a newspaper in your hand.
Yes.
Okay? Compared to today's...
Making a scene with a magazine, so to speak. Okay.
We will have so much winning. If I get elected, that you may get bored with winning.
We're going to have fun with
That's
that
a good
today.
segue for the Chicago Cubs, I think. Though.
So that's a good idea. Okay. So let's talk about the Chicago Cubs.
You're going to get tired of winning, my friend. You're going to get tired. They're going to get tired of winning because that team looks like they are built, for a run for a few years, man. They really do.
they broke the longest championship drought in professional sports history
Yeah.
when they beat the Indians in Game 7 of the World Series this past week, bringing the World Champions trophy to the north side of Chicago for the first time in 108 years.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I was thinking about that. Remember that song by Three Dog Night? One is the loneliest number?
Yes.
I think 108 is the loneliest number, I think. I don't know. 100
Well-
years, it's a long time to go without a championship.
Well, for the past few weeks, we've been talking to our next guest. Do we have our next guest on the phone?
He's not answering.
Well, maybe we're not
He may
talking.
still be celebrating. Who knows? Okay.
So let's talk about that actual Game 7.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about what led up to it, because when we had Omar on last week, we were going into Game 4, right? And
It was a
the
must
Indians
win.
had a 2-1 lead. Okay, he's still celebrating. So they had a 2-1 lead, and we really thought that based on, I guess, the Cubs' previous time when they faced Kershaw for the second time, that they would have, I forgot who pitched for the Indians, but they would win that game, and it would be tied up 2-2. That didn't happen, so they went down 3-1.
Right.
Now the Cubs, their backs are against the wall. They won Sunday, 3-2. Then they came back and they crushed them on Tuesday night, 9-3. Jake Arrieta looked outstanding in that
Right.
game, setting up Game 7, and that was a great Game 7.
It really was.
Extra innings and everything, man. A lot of drama.
Well, the thing is, the guy that hit the 2-run homer,
Ron J. Davis,
Ron J. Davis, you know what he goes down in history as?
the first Ron J.
No.
to tie up a game. I don't know.
He now will be remembered in history the same way Andy Chavez is remembered in history. Andy Chavez made a great play in the National League Championship game.
So he made the
7.
last out or what?
No, but he hit the home run.
Yeah.
But they lost the game.
Yeah. Well.
So that's the same thing with what happened with Andy Chavez. Andy Chavez was a great thing. It should
Yeah.
have spurred the Mets on
Yeah.
to win that game, and it didn't.
Yeah.
This guy hits a 2-run homer to tie the game in the bottom of the 8th.
Yep.
And they go into the 9th inning. And to be honest with you, when the Cubs brought out Chapman for the 9th inning, after throwing so many pitches
Yeah.
in the 8th, I says, ugh, that's a mistake.
Well, it paid
And
off.
It paid off. Now they're the champions. My son James was at.
He happened to just be in the area. Huh?
Happened to just be.
You know,
in that area.
there's something else though. That game, they won those last 2 games on the road.
Yeah,
Think about that, man.
That
and
is
I'll tell you
only
what, but there were a
happened-
fair amount of Cub fans in the stands in Cleveland for sure.
That is, first of all, that place only holds about 39,000.
Mm-hmm.
That was the capacity, right? And they said that I don't remember what the percentage was, but that StubHub reported that the highest percentage ever of tickets being bought on StubHub for Game 7 were from the Chicago area. How could White Sox fans for Game 7
Yeah.
be selling their tickets? I mean, not the White Sox, the Indians fag.
Yeah.
Right? You sell? Would you sell?
On
it?
StubHub?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Game 7.
Yeah. Well, maybe they need the money because you know what?
We are going to make America great again.
But Omar is not going to join us. So, but you said your son was in Chicago, right?
Yeah, he was
Are
in
we trying
Chicago.
to get him on the phone?
Try him one more time.
Okay. Oh, he's another guy. Okay. I think they were hanging out together. Is what it sounds like, man.
So one more thing, by the way. Remember we were talking about the 108?
Yeah.
All the
Yes,
distinctions
that's
between the
right.
108?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I found one last one.
Okay.
Okay. The game
Yeah.
was won.
At 1:08 a.m. Okay. Actually, it was around 1 o'clock when it was over.
It almost made it to
Yeah, yeah.
108 a.m. But the game was won in the 10th inning,
Okay.
and
10.
the Cubs scored 8 runs.
Oh, yeah, but not 8 runs in the inning. Okay, eight runs.
10
that's a
and
total.
8.
10-8.
Okay. So and there was a cool picture of the manager, Joe Madden.
Yeah.
Right? They had the parade that ended at the park and then they had the trophy.
Yeah.
They brought the trophy out on stage, and there's a great picture of him kissing the trophy and holding it up, right? And when somebody took a screenshot of it from their television, and the timestamp on it,
108?
108.
Really? Wow.
I know it's stupid.
Well, somewhat. I mean, well, it's just very coincidental.
It's just very coincidental.
And you remember, think about now the season's over, okay? The Mets, one of the players they wanted to get, right, and they didn't get was Ben Zobrist.
Ben Zobrist.
And Ben Zobrist, who actually he flew the coop from Kansas City, right?
And he was a second baseman,
Yeah.
and to make room for Javi Baez, they put him in left field.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an outfielder for them now. You know what? Good for them.
Yeah.
It was a great thing to see, I guess. You know, it was a great thing to see. And they're the world champions. Now we got to try and knock them off.
You know, and you think about this too. I think they had the most wins in the regular season. You know, and how often does that happen where the team that has the best record in the regular season does not win a championship?
Right. Well, look at the Mets in '86.
Yeah.
Right? How dominant were they?
Yeah, and
They were down 3-2.
In Game 6, they were down by 2 runs in the 10th inning, right?
By the way, when the American League team wins the World Series,
Yeah.
the Democratic Party wins.
When an American League team wins?
And when the National League team
Yeah.
wins the World Series, I'm sorry, the other way around.
Oh.
And when a National League team wins the World Series, it's the Democrats.
It's the Democrats.
So,
All right, well, the Democrats have something going for them then, I guess.
you want to hear some other things?
Please.
Okay. And by the way, that American League National League thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Since 1908, in 27 elections,
Yeah.
it's about 59%.
1908, which was,
Yeah. So that's not really a very high percentage. You know what I mean?
what was the percentage?
About 59%.
59.
That's not very high.
Well,
But
it's high
here's
enough.
some.
It's
But
high enough.
here's some of the ones that are really very high percentages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's called the Redskin Rule. Did you ever hear this?
No, but the Redskin rule.
The Washington Redskins.
Oh, okay.
When the Washington Redskins win
Yeah.
their last home game before a presidential election,
Yeah.
the incumbent party wins almost every time.
What?
Since
59%?
No.
Okay.
Since 1940,
1940, okay.
there's only been once where it didn't happen.
1940 is a number we used to like to yell at Ranger fans, right? You know.
But the only exception was 2004 when George Bush won,
Yeah.
because he kept the presidency, okay? Because they had lost
Yeah.
a home game. All right?
So just one more reason why the Redskins should never change their name.
But-
okay.
But George Bush in 2004 did not win the popular vote. So if you put the popular vote...
He won the electoral?
He won the electoral college. But if you put in the popular vote, it's 18 to 18, 18 of 18 every
Okay.
time.
Really?
The Washington Redskins, their last home game,
Yeah. They have a bye this week?
they have a bye this week.
So it goes back to last week. So
It goes back to 3 weeks ago.
Oh, last
Because
home game.
the last 2 games
Yeah,
were
I've been
away
on-
games.
Okay.
They beat
Yeah.
the Philadelphia Eagles. Therefore, the
The
incumbent party.
Okay.
Okay. The Summer Olympics.
Yes.
When the Summer Olympics are held in a country that had previously hosted the game,
Okay.
the incumbent wins all the time.
There you go. Wow.
But,
However.
however,
Okay.
Brazil
Yeah.
never hosted an Olympics before.
Oh.
So that's a check mark in Donald Trump's thing.
I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall.
Okay, quickly.
Yeah.
67% of all elections are won by the taller candidate.
Taller. Okay.
Taller
really?
candidate, yeah.
Okay.
Except, since 1900, except
In 1908.
Obama
Yeah.
and you know, except Obama and Romney. Romney was an inch taller than Obama. And 2 other very strange
I
things.
thought you said you were wrapping it up, man.
I am. Now listen, I spent all night working on this. No, 2 other things real quick.
Yeah.
7-Eleven coffee cups,
Yeah.
always, since 1970, they've been able to predict the winner.
Yeah.
This year, they decided to add a third-party cup.
Is that winning?
Third-party cup wins.
Wow. Well, that'll be interesting. Joe Patania will fill us in on those details. That's good.
And
finally,
the most Halloween masks sold in the last 10 elections this year,
it was the Trump.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
All right.
it's time to get political.
It's like we haven't been.
All right.
We are just getting started here on the Glory Days show. We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we will start the political discussions, okay? Lined up, three passionate Americans most likely have three different opinions about this, and it'll be interesting to hear their case for their candidate, okay? Our good buddy Bill Chandler will join us right after the break, talk about the Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton. On deck is Joe Patania, who will make the case for the independent candidates. And waiting in the wings is Anthony DiLorenzo, a staunch Republican who will speak about Donald Trump.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Days show, Bruce and Cisco, only on the Inravio TV network. We're coming right back, and we'll talk about Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
Hey, this is Chris Les Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Days show with Bruce
With
been a
Bruce
long
and
day.
Disco. Yeah.
We're Bruce and Disco here on the Inravio TV network. So, here we go.
Let the festivities begin.
Let the festivities begin. Back in early October, according to most polls, it looked like Hillary Clinton was going to become the next president of the United States. But with Donald Trump gaining slowly in the polls in recent weeks, the race became much tighter. The last 7 days has seen the race become an almost dead heat. Can Hillary's experience in politics overcome the recent allegations that have dogged her for most of this campaign and convince Americans that she is ready and able to become the first woman president in this country's history? On our phone is a believer who thinks she can and will be president on November 9th. Please welcome back our good friend, Bill Chandler. Bill, are you there?
I am. Good morning. How are you?
Hey.
All right, man. How are you?
Wonderful. I miss you guys. You know, before we get into this, I have to say, your last show when you did Dale Strawberry, I thought was one of your best. And I was so excited to come back and tell you how well you did with Dale Strawberry. Then you took the summer off.
You know, I actually spoke to Dow Strawberry after that interview and asked him about Donald Trump, by the way. Because he was on The Apprentice in 2004. And he said to me, he says, I said, well, what's Donald Trump really like? I said, the only thing we see is what we see in the media. He says, he's a really nice guy, but he's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not buying to that.
So let's talk a little bit about Hillary. And do you have any, what would be your concerns here going into these next couple of days?
Well, you never know. The whole thing, of course, is politics. So it's so political. They always talk about the October surprise, and we've had that. You just never know in this day and age with electronics what's going to come out for either candidate.
Right.
Are you going to have another woman come out and accuse Trump? Or are you going to have more Wikipedia leaks or WikiLeaks? That's a concern for. And I honestly am very disappointed in the way we've let the process degenerate into just a mud fest. We're not talking about issues at all. We're talking about emails, things that happened and people knew were happening and nobody cared about at the time. We're talking about what Trump did in the when he was 10, 12 years ago.
Right.
Nobody is talking about going forward. What are the issues and what are we going to do? And that's. I hate that.
Well, we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago when the Donald Trump video and stuff broke, and then they followed that right up with a bunch of Hillary Clinton things, and we were talking about it, and I was just saying to Bruce, I said, you know what? I says, if we just said, let's forget about anything that either one of these two candidates have done in the past, everything, wipe the slate clean, and just spend the next 2 or 3 weeks talking about what they're going to do for us. Why me? Right.
Not
right.
Why not them?
Right. That, I think, is the thing that is disturbing me most of all, is that neither one of them are talking about why they should be the president. They're just saying why the other one shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a leader. We need somebody with vision. We need somebody that's going to come in. And I don't, one of the things I have against Mr. Trump is that he wants to come in and say, like, let's make America great again. I happen to believe we're pretty great right now. We're doing very good. We went through a major depression in 2008. Are we bounced back from that completely? No, but we're coming back stronger. We're gaining more political influence within the world. We have a good standing. So are there some things we can do better? Of course there are. But we're not in a horrible position right now. I happen to think that Secretary Clinton has the most experience to be able to bring us more into the future. Mr. Trump wants to talk about how he's a great business leader. I think with his record, that's questionable, but even all that aside, think about how well that would translate into the government sphere. Think about the analogy I like to use is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a great basketball player, a graceful athlete, and by all accounts, just a wonderful person. That did not translate well into him being able to hit a curve in baseball. And that's the same experience that Donald Trump brings. Donald Trump comes in where he's basically a dictator in his own little world, which isn't bad. He's a businessman, and most of them are that way. That doesn't mean he can come in and have the political juice to be able to deal with foreign politics. He can't even get along with his own party. He can't get along with other Republicans, let alone reach across the aisle to Democrats.
One of the things that obviously concerns me about Donald Trump is there's never been anybody that's run for president before, other than George Washington.
Yeah.
That has never held an elected office ever. Right. He's never governed. And I know that, if you're the president of a company, Okay, it's your way or the highway.
That's right.
And I think one of the reasons why I like him is that I feel that that's the type of person that we need.
Yeah.
But my concern is that the president can't be that way anyway.
Yeah.
Because the president doesn't just make decisions on his own.
Designated survivor, okay?
Keith Sullivan.
Yeah,
Keith
yeah, yeah.
Sullivan?
Remember, say he's the president, right? And one of these guys that was a military guy did something, that he shouldn't have done, right? And what did he say to him? Now, I would think what you say is basically you're relieved of your duty, okay?
Yeah.
But what did he say? You're fired. Which is what Donald Trump would do, man. You just can't do that. I don't think.
So, Bill, I honestly can see both arguments. And there's obviously no way that he can compete with her on an experience level. Obviously, my biggest concern right now with Hillary is not whether or not she can do the job. I really think my concern at this point is she going to be allowed to do the job with this political cloud hanging over her now? Yeah. I mean, could this affect the first year or so of her presidency?
It could affect the next 8 or 12 years, Paul. I think you put your finger on it. And I think we've been evolving into this for a while. To me, for the American people to stand by, they elect a president and have for the majority person, Mitch McConnell, come out and say, we're going to make him a one-term president. And then he's elected again, come out and say, we will not work for this president. That's not his job. The people of Kentucky did not send him to the Senate to try to be a political person to get their party in. They sent him to represent the country. And we as American people have allowed this just to degenerate into just being able to be so partisan. And I think this comes out no better than with the Benghazi. What happened in Benghazi? That was a tragedy. That was a tragedy. But do you know I think if I counted, there were 14 attacks on our embassies during the Bush years. Do you know how many of them have had congressional joint inquiries? Not a single one. And we lost people. We lost good diplomats. We lost good personnel. And that never came up. It didn't matter. But now Secretary Clinton almost made a faux pas there. Secretary Clinton is running. And now that everybody wants to focus on that. Again, that gets us away from the issue. No Secretary of State has ever been held accountable for what happens in the embassy.
Well, you know what? I think one of the things that you said, which is very important, is about this partisan politics that's going on, where no matter what the Republicans say, the Democrats are going to say no, and whatever the Democrats say, the Republicans are going to say no. And I think that no matter which one of these two people wins, I don't think it's going to change.
It's not.
It might actually be worse.
And that's the saddest. That's the saddest part of it.
Yeah. And whichever one wins, they're going to have a horrible time governing because they have torn. It's just like two neighbors who get into a war, burn each other's house down, and one of them wins, but they don't have a home to go back to because they lost it in the war. And that's what's happened here. They've torn each other down so much that regardless of who wins, the person that comes in will not have a base to be able to say, okay, now let's have this agenda going forward. And we, as American people, we're better than that, and we deserve better than that.
I would have thought that, during the Republican debates, the first debate, they asked all the Republicans on stage if they would support the winner. And all of them said they would, and of course they were all ridiculous anyway. But I would have liked to have seen that question posed in the last debate and say, would you, if you lose the election, will you come out to your people and your party and ask them to support the president that won? I mean, to me, that to me is the biggest issue. Bill, we're out of time, but I got to ask you one quick question before you go. Will you be completely and totally shocked if Trump wins?
Right now, nothing would shock me. I would be very disappointed. I do not think he will be a good representative of the American people. He certainly will not represent my values. And I'll be very disappointed. But no, at this point, I don't think there's anything that can shock you in politics.
All I can say is vote early and vote often.
Vote early and vote often? Is that what you said? All righty, Bill. Thanks and good luck. And we'll see what happens on Tuesday.
Take care, Paul. Good talking to you guys.
Yeah,
All right, thanks, Bill.
man. All right, take care.
That's pretty good.
Let's take a break here, man.
All right.
When we get back, it'll be time for someone to tell us why we shouldn't vote for either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. Joe Battaglia will make the case for the independents running for president. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco, only on the Inravio TV network. We are coming right back.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
This is Joe Larson. You should check out the 505 on Racing Show live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or catch us on video on demand anytime, 24/7, only on the Inravio TV network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on the Inravio TV network. In a race that has seen two of the most disliked, untrustworthy candidates in political history rise to the top of the Democratic and Republican tickets, what is a voter to do that can't stand either of them? Many voters are so disgusted with the dirty politics, lies, and insults that have been just what's going on with these candidates that they just might be turned off enough just not to vote at all on Tuesday. But every vote counts, and here to tell us why it's important to vote for any of the candidates on the ballot if you're unhappy with Trump or Clinton is our good friend Joe Battaglia. Joe, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
All right, Joe, what's going on? So I need something to tell my children, because my children tell me they're so disgusted, they're not even going to vote on Tuesday. Because they don't like Hillary, and they don't like Donald Trump. And they feel that if they vote for one of the independent candidates, it's a waste of a vote because they can't win. Now, I try to tell them, the fact that your candidate can win should not be whether you vote for them or not. You're supposed to be voting for your conscience and voting for who you feel you want to vote for.
It's your civic duty.
Your civic duty,
Your civic
baby.
duty out there.
So, Joe, make a case for us.
Okay. Well, I tell them I totally agree with what you just said, that you shouldn't vote for someone just because they are the lesser of two evils, or or try to keep somebody else from winning. You really do have a responsibility to vote and vote for someone you can support. And even though it's not super likely that any of the third-party candidates are going to win, there are two who I believe have a small but possible chance to potentially get into a situation where they could be in contention for it. Now, neither of the third-party candidates have any chance, realistically, in this election to win the popular vote or to get more than 270 electoral votes. Let's concede that right off the crack of the bat. However, there are two at least who have enough support in the polls who could potentially win a state, and particularly Evan McMullen has been running fairly close in the polls in Utah, and potentially, with like 25% of the voters still either undecided or open to switching, the switching who they vote for when they actually go to the polls, he could win the state of Utah and pick up the electoral votes there. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If that happens, and the election is really close, as it is right now in a lot of states, and neither candidate gets the 270, then the election reverts back to the House. If that happens, then the House Representatives voting by state delegation, so not by each congressman voting, but the state of Wisconsin gets one vote, the state of New Jersey gets one vote, etc., would vote for the candidate. So let's assume for a moment that you have Evan McMullin picks up the state of Utah, which there's a possibility that he could do.
How many electoral votes is that, Joe?
For one, for Utah?
Yeah.
Utah has 6.
6.
And
Okay.
and right now, as I'm looking at you guys know I'm pretty much of an analytics type geek, so I really dig into this like I do to the baseball information. Right now, it's once again, think back 2000 with the Bush-Gore election.
Yeah.
It looks to me like Florida's going to decide this thing. Right now, the Electoral College Real Clear Politics map, basically with no ties at this point in time, would show Clinton, Kane winning 297 and Trump, Pence winning 241. But right now, Clinton has a slight lead in Florida, very slight, well within the margin of error of the polls. So those 29 votes go to Clinton. Now let's assume that doesn't happen and Trump is able to flip Florida, and we don't have hanging chads and appeals, and the thing goes into December. So, but let's assume, just for the sake of argument, that it happens. That would actually flip the election over to Trump-Pence with a 271 win, which is basically the smallest margin possible. But that assumes that he wins Utah. So let's assume that he doesn't win Utah and Evan McMullin wins Utah. Now, neither Hillary Clinton nor Donald Trump have 270. Evan McMullin has the 6 electoral votes from Utah. Now it goes to the House of Representatives. So here's the scenario. You've got the Hillary Clinton is not at all popular, and certainly no Republican is going to support her in the House of Representatives. And Trump certainly has his detractors in the House of Representatives, even though the majority of the delegations are Republican. Evan McMullin actually worked in the House of Representatives as a policy expert. He was the chief policy advisor for the House Republicans, and so he has good connections. He's well respected there, and potentially winds up being a compromise candidate. Now, likely, no. There's too many if this and this and this and this have to happen, but it is possible, which makes it interesting. Now, beyond that, you have Gary Johnson, who's run strong in some states. Now, his support appears to be fading, as often happens in as you get close to an election. But let's suppose he picks up a state like New Mexico, and he's in the running. So potentially, if he does it and he picks up New Mexico, even if McMullin doesn't pick up Utah, now Gary Johnson is that third party candidate. So you have that aspect.
Has it ever happened where a third party candidate carried a state or two? Do you know?
Oh yeah. Back in the election, I guess it was 1968. Wallace picked up a whole bunch of states.
Wallace, okay. Wow.
Wallace.
So
68.
It can happen. 68. Yeah, it was. It's the year when you had Nixon, Humphrey, and Wallace, and the Democrats basically divided the Democrat vote, and Richard Nixon wound up getting elected.
So the 2 states that you've talked about so far, where do they usually go? They usually go Republican, because you said I guess Trump was favored in Utah, right? How about New Mexico?
New Mexico has gone Democrat pretty steadily. Utah has been a solid red state, and Evan McMullen suddenly got on Donald Trump's radar screen when he started actually polling strongly in Utah, and the Trump campaign actually had to invest some resources, had to send Pence over to Utah to solidify what should have been a solid red state. And at this point in time, the RCP average does show Trump winning Utah. I'll pull those numbers real quick here.
Hey, Joe, we got about 2 minutes before we have to go to the break. I want to ask you a quickie question. Why do you think that this country can't get away from this two-party system?
Well, it's because it's the fact of the Electoral College and the fact that when you have a race where a candidate winds up being a third-party candidate, it tends to divide the vote and ensures that the other candidate, the other party, wins it. So, like I mentioned, the Wallace when Wallace and Humphrey divided the Democratic vote, Richard Nixon got elected in '68. You had the same thing happening back in here we're going back to the early 1900s again, just like the Cubs breaking that curse. The election in 2012, where you had Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, who basically ran as a third-party candidate against his hand-picked successor, and divided the Republican vote, bringing Woodrow Wilson into the White House as the Democratic candidate, which, I mean, from my viewpoint as a historian, was really kind of a terrible thing to happen, because you didn't want to have someone like Wilson as president during World War I. But anyway, as be the case, that's what happens, and so either party is very concerned about their main candidate losing if someone who really draws from their side winds up being the candidate. Now, there's no question that Ralph Nader's candidacy back in 2000 hurt Gore and helped George Bush win the White House. So I think that's the main reason.
I always think about Ross Perot.
I voted for Ross Perot in 1980.
Yeah,
I did.
Well,
I voted
and
for
Perot certainly hurt President Bush. Bush won, and helped Bill Clinton get it. So I think that's part of it, and it's just this sense that I've gotten so much flack from my conservative friends for saying, you're basically electing Hillary Clinton, and no, I'm not electing Hillary Clinton.
No.
I really don't. I can't support either one. I'm supporting.
You know what? I think the difference in this is that the independents that haven't made a decision yet. I mean, I would say normally that the independents are going to either vote one way or the other.
Jeez.
Okay? No. I meant like if there's only.
They're going to vote one way or the other.
No, I meant as far as the two candidates are concerned. Okay. But I really believe that the independents of today weren't going to vote for either one of these anyway. Mm-hmm. So I really don't see them taking votes away from Hillary or taking votes away from Trump. I think that they want them to vote for them, but I don't see them as saying, 80% of the independents normally vote Democrat, or 70% of the independents normally vote Republican. And now if they don't vote, they're going to hurt them. I don't think either of those candidates.
What I'm going to do, though, Tuesday night, I'm going to pay attention to what goes on in Utah and in New Mexico.
That's right.
Was Jill Stein going to carry anything, Joe, do you think?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part. What did you say?
Was Jill Stein going to carry any state, do you think?
No. Jill Stein is polling so 1 or 2% at best in any state. She doesn't really have a statistical chance. I mean, the polls can be wrong; they can't be that wrong.
Yeah.
It's the most likely candidate, and that's who I'm supporting, is Evan McMullen. You got a guy who is really strong. He spent 10 years as a CIA operative undercover in the Middle East on terrorism.
All right.
He is experience on Wall Street with a fund helping companies start up. He worked in the House for 5 years as a policy expert, so really qualified. Johnson, he's really in it, I think, more than anything at this point, hoping to cross that 5% threshold so he gets access to
Money.
campaign financing funds in the next election.
Sorry, Joe, we gotta go. We gotta go to a break here, man. Okay.
We're getting yelled at. All right, Joe, thanks a lot for taking the time, and see what happens on Tuesday.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Thanks.
All righty, Joe, thanks.
Bye bye.
All right, we're going to take another break here, and when we come back, we will talk about Donald J. Trump with Anthony DiLorenzo. Stay with us. You're watching The Glory Day Show with Bruce Disco, only on the Inravio TV network. We're coming right back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
What's up, guys? We're Scared No Fair, and we're here with Inravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Rich Weller. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, you get punched in the But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on.
Or else.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on the Inravio TV network. As we get into the home stretch in the final few days before the election, there are still many voters that have not made up their mind. You just heard the case for Hillary Clinton made by Bill Chandler, and you heard the case for any of the independent candidates made by Joe Battaglia. But what about Donald J. Trump?
Our leaders are stupid. Our politicians are stupid.
Trump's campaign began more than a year ago, and slowly but surely he bested 17 other candidates to win the Republican nomination. Many say that the press has been unfair to his campaign, and both the Democrats and Republicans seem to be afraid of him. He has threatened to drain the swamp in Washington of the corruption and party politics. And quite frankly, he has a record of defying all odds and getting things done. But can a candidate with zero political experience at any level win an election to the highest office in the country? What many people thought was a joke in June of 2015 have learned that he is for real, and he just might win this thing. And here to tell us why we should believe in him is a staunch Republican supporter who has thought long and hard about this over the last few months, Anthony DiLorenzo. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, Paul. How are you?
All right. Now, I know that you are as much of a Republican as you are a Yankee fan. And to you, the Republicans could do no wrong and the Yankees could do no wrong. But you have certainly struggled with this over the course of this political season.
Struggled with the Yankees, too.
well, the Yankees aside, yes, I've struggled with it. But I am a voter who votes along party lines most of the time. But I have voted Democrat many times in my 65 years.
You have?
I have. I voted for Mayor Koch. I voted for Mario Cuomo. That was a mistake, but I did vote for him. I voted along assembly lines out here in Long Island for people that were Democrat. But this time around, there's no way possible, even if a dog was running against Hillary Clinton, that I could vote for Hillary Clinton. I mean, I have to be honest, and these are my reasons, okay? We have a woman who's been in politics for 30-some-odd years. We know who she is. And if you know who she is and her unfavorable rating among American people is 70% unfavorable, what does that tell you about the candidate going in? The fact that Donald Trump, who's not perfect, we all know that, but he's not a politician, the fact that he could be knocking on the door and possibly pulling up the biggest upset in political history is unbelievable. And it tells you about the cronyism and how people feel about everyday politicians in Washington. And he uses the word drain the swamp. That's exactly what we need to do.
You know, I read the newspapers every day.
Do you read the Post?
I read the Post, I read the Daily News, and I read the Newsday every day.
Right.
But the thing that, I mean, maybe 2 years ago, before this whole thing started, me and my wife were talking about it, and I said, you know what? This system is so corrupt. All of these politicians, somebody's in their pocket, they're taking money, they're getting arrested, they're going to jail. And I said to her, I said, you know what? I don't see how we ever get out of this. I don't see how we get out of this cycle at all.
Blow it up.
All we keep doing,
man.
all we keep doing is electing more politicians.
Well, that's the bottom line, and that's why I think Donald Trump has struck a chord. And you know, when you look at the left-wing media, CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, all of these folks that have been on Hillary Clinton's payroll, obviously with Donna Brazile being fired by CNN, we know that was true. And today, possibly, I'm hearing that Anthony Weiner may be taken out in handcuffs from his apartment, which is going to be something else. All right, so it goes on and on and on with these Clintons, with the foundation, with the pay-for-play. I mean, her husband being on the tarmac with the Attorney General just days before Comey's announcement, where he lays out for 9 minutes everything she did wrong, and then he says, but we're not going to indict. Right. And then he goes before Congress, Trey Gowdy, and he says he answers questions about everything she did wrong. I mean, and here we sit, like 3 or 4 days before the election now, and people have I think people are really stunned and don't know really what to do. But as you see the polls tightening, and believe me, any place where Trump is 1 point behind or tied, he's winning by 4 or 5.
And you know what? And before this whole thing re-broke last Friday about the not actually reopening of the investigation, because the investigation was never closed.
Correct.
It's the fact that he was just saying, listen, we found these new emails. He was gaining some momentum anyway.
He certainly was.
And, you know, I think that one of the things, I was talking to when we had Bill Chandler on the show earlier, who was trying to make the case for Hillary. Right. I said, even if you throw everything out the window and you say, okay, she's got more experience, she's got this, she's got that, her first 2 years as a president are going to be completely clouded. I mean, that's what brought Richard Nixon down. It wasn't actually Watergate.
Right. You took the words out of my mouth. For all of us to know that Richard Nixon, he won 69% of the vote, 49 out of 50 states, and spent the first 18 months of his second term fighting impeachment.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a constitutional crisis here if she gets elected, and this is going to go on, and who suffers for it? We have Obamacare that needs to be replaced. We have so many problems with ISIS that are threatening before the election to have problems over here. I mean, he's also laid out an agenda, his first 100 days. She's laid out nothing but Donald Trump is bad against women, Donald Trump is a racist. He's come up with things to do in his first 100 days. Get rid of NAFTA, repeal Obamacare, try to get term limits to get these guys like Charlie Rangel, and he's gone now anyway, but some of these guys like Harry Reid that are 85 years old still running and getting in.
Harry Reid, how could people be listening to the things that he's saying and not be losing their mind?
He's senile. I mean, the man he's senile. And this is what's happening. But looking at the polls, when I saw last night, for instance, that he's in play in Pennsylvania, which was unheard of 2 or 3 weeks ago. New Hampshire, another place. Wisconsin this morning, I'm hearing he's within 2 points. If this is true, we're going to have a lot of fun on Wednesday morning because this is going to be unbelievable.
You know what the best part about Wednesday morning will be if he wins?
It's over.
The best
well,
part,
that's true.
Well,
That
the
is
best part.
certainly true.
No, you know what the best part is? I want to see the faces of every one of those people that have been. And I'm not talking about backing your candidate.
Well, it's going to be
That's
an
got
ugly
nothing to do
day
with it.
because whoever loses is going to feel really bad, man. So if Trump loses this, you're that same person that you want to see that
but I'm going to
face,
tell you, if I don't know if he's going to win. Obviously, nobody knows whether he's going to win.
Nobody knows.
And if he doesn't win, he gave it a really good shot. I think they were going to make a mistake, but you know what? In the end, she was probably going to win anyway. Yeah. Right?
If he doesn't win, okay, he has damaged her even more than she was before, and we know what's going to happen in the next 18 months. So it's kind of a half a win.
And you know what's going to happen? She's going to pardon herself. She's going to pardon everybody involved in the investigation, and she's just going to skate off. I had said last week or the week before we were talking about why the Obamas are pushing for her to win so hard after they had said all those terrible things about her in 2008, right?
Right.
And I said the reason why they're doing that is because they know that Obama's legacy will be completely destroyed if Donald Trump wins. Because he's going to overturn everything. He's going to show the world what he had done as a president. But if she wins, not only is she going to possibly continue along his thing, but if everything goes wrong with Hillary Clinton, the Obamas will be able to blame her. And because they blame her, it'll still maintain his legacy. Because they say, well, look, after Hillary Clinton took off, it went downhill.
Well, I think Bill said it, I'm not going to say he said it best, but, it really comes down to, what's your perception of where we are as a country?
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
And if you're happy with the way things are going, okay, I think you vote for Hillary Clinton. And if you really think the things need to be, you don't like the way things are going, you think things need to be shaken up, you vote for Donald Trump. It's what you do.
Well, if you just look at if you opened up your health care for October and for next year, and you look at the rate increases and the deductibles, that's one thing that's got to really set you off because
it'll resonate with people. Yep.
It resonates with people, and I think the other thing that resonates with people now is the fact that the indictment is hanging over her head. A lot of people are thinking what we said this morning. Do we want to go into the next 4 years, 2 years, whatever it's going to be, even if she forgives herself, pardons herself, do we still want to have this every day on the television about the indictment and what she did? This is not what the country needs right now. The country needs some stability.
Yeah.
And a guy who comes in here on a white horse and just says, screw everybody, let's just take care of things and try to just turn it on its head, because we've come to a point in this country where we are so divided. The guy who came in 8 years ago was supposed to make us closer, and he's made the divide so much wider.
When Trump, when he first started and he started winning, and people said, well, you know what he needs to do in order to win this election? He needs to become more presidential. He needs to become this. He needs to do that. And he just said to everybody, I'm going to do whatever I want. Don't tell me what I'm going to do, because this is me. And you know what? In the end, he's right there. And he's right there being him.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Anthony, we know he's got 8 statements, and we don't know. We haven't figured out what the 8th one is yet, but I think it might be I could shoot somebody in the street and not get arrested. That should be the one, man. You know?
Oh my gosh! Well, keep your eyes and ears open for Anthony Weiner today. I have a feeling either today or tomorrow.
And where did Huma Abedin go? She disappeared from sight.
She absolutely did, and
You know, I was driving. I did a long drive yesterday from Jersey, and they were looking for somebody. Okay, you know, like an Amber Alert, and they were looking for Uma.
They're looking for Uma. Oh God!
I don't know. I just, you know, Anthony, I've, you know, we've known each other for a long time. Obviously, he's my cousin. Full disclosure here, you know, we don't often agree because we're Met and Yankee fans. But the one thing we do agree about is baseball, and that baseball is a great sport.
Absolutely.
And this country needs this now more than anything. Because Donald Trump said a couple of weeks ago that if he doesn't win, nobody like him will ever run for president again.
Yeah, that's true. That's
because nobody will look at what he is giving up to do this.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He's giving up a multi-million-dollar company. He's giving up the easiest life you could ever imagine. For this, why would he do this? And that to me seems to be his motivation.
I truly believe he loves
president that God ever created.
We'll make America great again. All right, we got to wrap up here, I think.
Okay,
man.
did you get that pen from Sean Hannity, or do you have one of
No,
your
that's
own?
I tried to get the pen, and the pen was sold out, so
This
I
is
found
much
this
better.
thing.
This is much better.
I found this thing, which is like, it has all the same phrases as the pen.
I know what one
where'd you
should
get it?
what
Where'd
should
you
be
get
in
it?
here.
What?
You're fired.
You're fine. Yeah, what was the other one? You said, oh, what have you got to lose? And that to me is the most honest statement I have ever heard a politician say.
Well, he's not a
What have you
politician.
got to lose?
Okay.
Well, that's the thing. He's not a politician. Because you know what? I was talking to my son James about it, and I said, what is the absolute worst thing that you think is going to happen? He said, oh, he's going to get us into a nuclear war. I said,
No,
he's not going to get us into a nuclear war.
We got a government there. There's checks and balances here, man. You know,
Absolutely.
somebody else has got to turn that key too.
Right,
man.
you don't just have, it's not like the president has the only key.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the
right.
president, I think, has the last key.
Exactly.
What his role is to try to bring us together, man. Right. That's really what it is.
And you know what? The Trump
Get everybody making
the Trump
deals.
that the media is trying to portray.
You will get tired of winning.
Make America great again.
And you know what? We're not great. Other countries look at us and laugh at us.
We're a disaster.
We are a disaster. And you know what? I know they keep saying, oh, all he's doing is saying what everybody thinks. Well, duh.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If
that's
you're
the
thinking
whole
it, That's
thing.
probably a good reason to vote for the guy then,
Exactly.
right?
You know, I got to say, as much as they say he's not experienced or he's this or he's dangerous, I think we know exactly what we're getting from him. He might be flawed. He might obviously has no political experience or anything
Correct.
like that.
Correct.
But you know what? He is what the forefathers were talking about in the beginning. He is an actual American citizen. He is a guy who just loves this country and wants to do the best for it.
You know, this
It's not a career politician.
I worked as a consultant for a long time, and sometimes you just need to blow things up.
You do.
Okay?
You need
This is what will happen.
And you know what?
Exactly. Blow it up, start over.
That's right.
Do you think there's any chance that if he wins this election, that he gets to be the president and finds out that he can't do anything that he said he was going to do?
I think that the only thing that can hold him back from doing what he'd like to do is if the Republican establishment, who I'm fed up with, if they give him a hard time, or if they side with the Democrats and he can't push his agenda through, yes, he will. But if the Republicans come home, as I think they are, and they want to see Hillary Clinton kept out of there now, if they come home and they back him, he can get a lot of what he says. The wall, I'm not sure about, but he can get a lot of things done because he'll have hopefully the Senate and the Congress with him as well. And he's got to do what Obama did in that first year and a half, while he's got the full House and the full Senate.
Right.
Push it through. And I think he can. But if they're going to treat him like he's a second-class citizen, even as a president, as we know Democrats will anyway, it could be tough. It could
Well,
be tough.
I got to tell you, the one thing that I think he will do is the only thing that he's ever been able to do his entire life, and that is build the wall. He builds things. He gets things. That's the thing that he does, and I really think he's going to do that. I don't know.
You know what he should build?
What?
A bridge. A bridge to the other party to have us all
Well,
come together.
here's the question.
He's a
And
builder, he
I'll
should
bring
build
it,
that, okay?
And since we're running out of time, actually we're probably over time right now, but I'll give you the last word. Between the two candidates, if Hillary wins, do you think that the Republicans will ever work with her? And if Donald Trump wins, do you think there's a chance that the Democrats will ever work with him?
I think if Donald Trump wins, there's a small percentage of Democrats that will work for him. The ones that have backed him, there are a few that are backing him. But if Hillary Clinton wins, no, I do not believe the Republicans will do anything, especially if she's under this guise of this indictment. And this,
Right.
They're not going to do a thing. They're all going to be against her. So if she gets in, we're going to sit and do absolutely nothing.
Right. And I think I agree with that because obviously his experience in business. And you know, they were calling it flip-flopping in the beginning when he says he changed his mind. He says, I'm a businessman. He says, I evaluate things and I make decisions based on evaluations. And I think that's what he will be like.
At the time.
At the time, exactly. The fact that you say one thing today, somebody can change your mind and give you a different point of view. I don't think that because you say something today, you have to stay with that opinion for the rest of your life.
Well, he's going to have Rudy Giuliani probably on his staff. He's going to have good people from different parts of the world that can do different things, which is important as well. And if he surrounds himself with good people, you know as well as I that
that's
as,
right.
As
that's
your
what
co-host
leadership
said,
is.
That's what leadership is. You have to
is.
reach out to other people to tell you which way. Now he's kind of a stubborn guy, but I think he's listening to his people now because he said the other day as he was speaking, "Okay, Donald, stay on."
Right, he was talking to himself. That was pretty funny. You know what? And he also, when it comes to running a meeting, the person running the meeting has to know that they are not the smartest person in the room.
That's right.
Exactly
and
right.
I think Obama has always felt he was the smartest person in the room. I know Hillary thinks she's the smartest person in the room. But I think Donald Trump is smart enough to know that if you surround yourself with intelligent people who know more than you, that's how you make yourself
take their
great.
input.
Yeah.
He said it many times. I will surround myself with good people, and I believe he will.
All right, man.
Well, we got to go now, unfortunately.
Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen,
All right.
for the chance to get my views out there. And, Paul, I'll talk to you hopefully Wednesday.
Okay.
Sounds
All right,
good.
let's hear one more time.
I will build a great, great wall. And I will have Mexico pay.
That's my favorite, baby. All righty, Andy. Thanks a lot.
All right,
All right, guys. We got to close this election extravaganza.
We did talk a little baseball.
All right.
Not much.
Thanks to our producers, Anthony Mazzalo and Sam Coughlin, for all their hard work and for making us look good out there. Thanks and congratulations to Omar Garby, who we couldn't get on the phone today.
It's too bad.
But really, congratulations anyway. Thanks to our political experts, Bill Chandler, Joe Battaglia, and Anthony DiLorenzo, for sharing their opinions and making the case for their candidates. This was a good show.
It was. I enjoyed myself.
All righty. Thanks again, Chuck and Bonnie, for putting up with this nonsense week after week and for allowing us to bring you this type of quality programming. And of course, thanks to you, our loyal viewers. Don't forget, you could check out the Glory Days on-demand page on www.inravio.com to watch any of our past shows or any of the other great shows on the Inravio TV network. And when all is said and is done, it's up to you, America. I hope we were able to help you make an informed decision today when you head into that voting booth on Tuesday and use your hard-fought right to vote on who you feel should lead this country for the next 4 years. Don't waste this opportunity that our fathers and forefathers fought so hard for you to have. It is your right as a citizen. Make sure you go out and exercise it. And if in the end you decide not to vote, you have forfeited your right to complain for the rest of time.
We should be playing a little patriotic music in the background.
Yeah, don't we have patriotic music in the background?
We
We are
don't.
going to make America great again.
Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Our leaders are stupid.